Right, so what is generative artificial intelligence? So the term is made up by two things, artificial intelligence and generative. So artificial intelligence is a fancy term for saying we get a computer program to do the job that a human would otherwise do. And generative, this is the fun bit, we are creating new content that the computer has not necessarily seen. It has seen parts of it, and it's able to synthesize it and give us new things. So what would this new content be? It could be audio. It could be computer code, so that it writes a program for us. It could be a new image. It could be a text, like an email or an essay you've heard, or video. Now, in this lecture, I'm only going to be mostly focusing on text because I do natural language processing and this is what I know about. And we'll see how the technology works, and hopefully, leaving the lecture, you know how, like, there's a lot of myth around it and it's not, you see what it does and it's just a tool, okay? Right, so the outline of the talk, there's 3 parts, and it's kind of boring. This is Alice Morse Earle. I do not expect that you know the lady. She was an American writer, and she writes about memorabilia and customs. But she's famous for her quotes. So she's given us this quote here that says, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift, and that's why it's called the present. It's a very optimistic quote. And the lecture is basically the past, the present, and the future of AI. Okay, so what I want to say right at the front is that generative AI is not a new concept. It's been around for a while. So how many of you have used or are familiar with Google Translate? Can I see a show of hands? Right. Who can tell me when Google Translate launched for the first time?
1995.
Oh, that would have been good. 2006. So it's been around for 17 years. And we've all been using it. And this is an example of generative AI. Greek text comes in. I'm Greek, so, you know, pay some dues to the... Right, so Greek text comes in. English text comes out. And Google Translate has served us very well for all these years, and nobody was making a fuss. Another example is Siri on the phone. Again, Siri launched 2011, 12 years ago. And it was a sensation back then. It is another example of generative AI. We can ask Siri to set alarms, and Siri talks back, and oh, how great it is, and then you can ask about your alarms and whatnot. This is generative AI again. It's not as sophisticated as ChatGPT, but it was there. And I don't know, how many have an iPhone? See, iPhones are quite popular. I don't know why. Okay, so we are all familiar with that. And of course, later on, there was Amazon Alexa and so on. Okay, again, generative AI is not a new concept. It is everywhere. It is part of your phone. The completion, when you're sending an email or when you're sending a text, the phone attempts to complete your sentences, attempts to think like you, and it saves you time, right? Because some of the completions are there. The same with Google. When you're trying to type, it tries to guess what your search term is. This is an example of language modeling. We'll hear a lot about language modeling in this talk.